Welcome to our channel, dedicated to the teachings of Jesus Christ. Today we set off on a journey that explores a fascinating concept: surrendering control. In our quest for control, we often find ourselves gripping tightly onto various aspects of life. But what happens when instead we decide to loosen our grasp? What occurs when we choose to surrender this control? If you're picturing a free fall into the unknown, think again. This journey is about trust. Trust in a plan that's not our own but belongs to someone far greater. Trust in a divine design that intricately weaves each thread of our lives into a beautiful tapestry. Trust in God. Now, surrendering control may seem like a daunting prospect. It's not about admitting defeat, but rather about embracing victory. Surrender isn't about giving up. It's about gaining something greater. I was a control freak. Life was a constant battle. These are the words of a man who was once ensnared in the clutches of his own ego, convinced that he alone held the reins of his destiny. Let's call him John. John was a man who was always on his toes, always seeking, always striving. His life was a whirlwind of deadlines, responsibilities, and endless lists of tasks. His clenched fists were a testament to his relentless need for control. John's life was a tapestry woven with threads of anxiety, stress, and loneliness. He was caught in a self-imposed labyrinth, always running yet never reaching any destination. His heart yearned for peace, for a respite from the storm, but his mind was a battlefield where he fought against his own fears and insecurities. The more he tried to control, the more life seemed to spiral out of control. The weight of his world was on his shoulders and he was buckling under the pressure. John knew something had to change. He yearned for tranquility, for a life that wasn't dictated by the ticking clock or the relentless pursuit of perfection. But he was afraid of letting go, of surrendering control. The thought of surrender was intimidating. It felt like defeat. But deep down he knew that his attempts to control everything were futile. He was a shipwreck in the midst of a storm, and he realized he needed to let go of the helm. The turning point came one quiet night. With a weary heart, John fell to his knees and cried out to God. He surrendered his fears, his anxieties, his need for control. He handed over the reins of his life to God, trusting in his divine plan. It was a moment of absolute surrender, of complete trust. And then something miraculous happened. John's life didn't become perfect overnight. There were still challenges, still hurdles to overcome. But there was a newfound peace, a tranquility that surpassed all understanding. He was no longer fighting against the current, he was flowing with it. His life began to transform in ways he could never have imagined. The battle had ended, and in its place was a beautiful dance of surrender. But when I surrendered to God, my life transformed. Surrendering control opens doors to the most exhilarating experiences. In life, we often clutch the reins so tightly, steering our path with a firm hand, believing that we alone can navigate the journey. But surrendering control, letting go of the reins, and allowing God to take the lead unveils an entirely different, beautiful perspective of life. It's like stepping out of a black and white film and into a world of vibrant color. Consider the beauty of nature. The sunrise doesn't rush to break the darkness, it waits for God's perfect timing. The seasons don't compete for dominance, they surrender to the rhythm of His design. The ocean doesn't resist the moon's pull, it moves in harmony with a force greater than itself. Each element of nature is a testament to the power of surrender, and each one follows a divine design, making it breathtakingly beautiful. Likewise, when we surrender control, we step into God's grand design for our lives. We stop resisting, stop fighting the current, and start moving with the flow of His divine plan. It's not about giving up or admitting defeat. Instead, it's about acknowledging that God, in His infinite wisdom and love, has a plan far more wonderful than we could ever conceive. When we surrender, we stop trying to squeeze life into our limited understanding and instead open ourselves to infinite possibilities. We trade our myopic view for a vista of divine proportions. We exchange our fears and anxieties for peace and assurance that comes from trusting in God's plan. Surrendering control doesn't mean we become passive observers of our lives. Quite the contrary, we become active participants in a grand divine narrative. We work, we strive, but we do so with the understanding that the outcome is in God's hands. And there's a peculiar beauty in that surrender, in that trust. When we surrender, we become part of something grand. We become part of a divine symphony where every note, every rest, every crescendo is perfectly orchestrated. We become part of a masterpiece where every stroke, every shade, every detail is meticulously designed. And that, dear friends, is the exquisite beauty of surrender. Surrender doesn't mean you stop trying or working hard. Quite the contrary. Surrender, in essence, is an act of trust. Trust in something greater, something divine. It's about shifting the weight of the world from your shoulders onto those of the divine architect, the one who has a master plan. Consider this. When we surrender, we're not throwing in the towel or accepting defeat. We're simply acknowledging that we're part of a grand design, a plan that's far greater than our individual selves. It's a plan that's been carefully crafted by the creator of the universe, one who sees the bigger picture and knows the end from the beginning. Now, this doesn't mean we sit back and do nothing. No, we continue to work hard, strive for our goals, and face our challenges head on. But we do so with an understanding that the outcome is not solely in our hands. We realize that there's a divine force guiding us, a loving hand leading us along the right path. Remember the wise words from the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. These verses encapsulate the essence of surrender. It's not about giving up control, but about trusting in God's plan and his ability to lead us along the right path. This trust in God's plan brings a sense of relief, a feeling of liberation. It frees us from the burdensome task of trying to micromanage every aspect of our lives. It allows us to experience the joy of being in the flow of God's plan, of being part of something grand and beautiful. So, surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It's a commitment to trust God's plan, even when the path seems unclear or the outcome uncertain. Remember, God doesn't promise an easy life, but he promises to be with us every step of the way. Surrender is the result of fully trusting God. A profound statement, isn't it? Imagine a life filled with extraordinary moments, joy, and peace that surpasses all understanding. This is the result of surrender. It's not about losing control. It's about gaining a life that's directed by the one who knows our past, present, and future. When we surrender, we invite God to take the wheel, to guide us through the labyrinth of life. The result? A life that's not just lived, but a life that's extraordinarily loved, a life that's not just about surviving, but thriving. Surrender brings peace in the midst of chaos, joy in the midst of sorrow, and strength in the midst of weakness. It's like discovering a secret treasure that has been waiting for you all along. It's about living life to the fullest, in sync with God's divine rhythm. Embrace this exciting adventure and be encouraged. God's plan for you is beyond your wildest dreams. Let's conclude with some prayer points and corresponding Bible verses. Our first prayer point is about surrendering control. It's about asking for the strength to place our lives entirely in God's hands. The psalmist reminds us in Psalm 37, verse 5, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act." As we surrender control, we invite God to take the lead in our lives, to act and to guide us along our paths. Our second prayer point is about trusting in God's plan. It's a prayer for unwavering faith in the divine blueprint God has prepared for us. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11 offers us this assurance, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." So, let's trust in his plan, even when we can't see the full picture yet. Our final prayer point focuses on courage and uncertainty. It's a prayer for the bravery to trust in God even when life seems uncertain or unstable. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 provides comfort and courage. "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Thank you for joining us on this life-transforming journey. We hope that you've been inspired to surrender control and put your trust in God's grand design. Remember, it's not about giving up, it's about gaining something greater. If this message has resonated with you, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us reach more people with these uplifting teachings. Together we can embrace the exhilarating adventure of surrendering control and trusting in God.